Alright, so let's start by breaking down the nervous system into its two major components, the afferent, or sensory division, and the efferent, or motor division. The afferent division is all about bringing sensory information from the outside world into the brain, while the efferent division sends motor commands from the brain to the muscles and organs. Sensory information includes special senses like vision, hearing, taste, and smell, as well as general somatic senses that make up the somatosensory system. This system deals with touch, proprioception, pain, and temperature, all detected by sensory neurons spread across the body. Now, neurons are the primary cells of the nervous system. They're composed of a cell body, which contains all the cell's organelles, and nerve fibers that extend out from the cell body. These nerve fibers are either dendrites, which receive signals, or axons, which send signals along to the next neuron. When two neurons come together, they form a synapse, where one neuron passes neurotransmitters to the next neuron in line, continuing the relay of sensory information. Sensory neurons are equipped with specialized receptors that detect different types of stimuli. These receptors are classified based on the stimuli they respond to. Mechanoreceptors detect touch and proprioception, the sense of body position. Nociceptors respond to pain. Thermoreceptors sense temperature. Somatosensory pathways are composed of a relay of four neurons. It begins with the first order neuron, also known as the sensory neuron, which has sensory receptors that convert external stimuli into nerve impulses. The impulse then passes to the second order neuron, whose cell body might be located in the spinal cord or brainstem. From there, the signal moves to the third order neuron in the thalamus, and finally reaches the fourth order neuron in the sensory cortex of the brain. Let's zoom in on the first order or sensory neurons. These neurons are called pseudo-unipolar because they have just one axon extending from the cell body, which then splits into two branches, a peripheral branch and a central branch. When a stimulus, like a poke, hits the sensory receptors, ion channels open and allow ions to flow in and out of the neuron, causing depolarization. If enough positive charge flows in, this triggers an action potential which travels from the peripheral branch to the central branch and into the spinal cord. Each first-order neuron has a receptive field, which is the area from which it receives sensory input. The smaller the receptive field, the higher the resolution of the sensation. For example, our fingertips have much smaller receptive fields than our back, allowing us to read Braille by feeling the raised dots with precision. In order for us to distinguish two nearby stimuli, the receptive fields of two sensory neurons need to be separated by at least one neuron's receptive field. Lateral inhibition, where the most active neuron inhibits its neighboring neurons, also plays a role in helping us localize stimuli more precisely. Sensory neurons encode both the strength and duration of a stimulus. A strong stimulus, like boiling water, makes a neuron fire at a high frequency. However, neurons can adapt to stimuli. For instance, after putting on a watch, you might stop noticing it after a while. Receptors can either be fast adapting, phasic, meaning they respond quickly and then stop firing, or slow adapting, tonic, meaning they continue to fire as long as the stimulus is present. Fast adapting receptors, like those in your wrist, help you ignore constant stimuli, while slow adapting receptors allow you to maintain sensitivity to prolonged stimuli, such as feeling the raised dots of Braille. Let's break down the types of mechanoreceptors found in the skin. Meissner corpuscles are fast-adapting receptors located in the dermis of hairless skin, like the fingertips. They help detect light touch and vibrations. Merkel discs are slow-adapting receptors found in the epidermis. They respond to steady pressure and texture. Ruffini corpuscles are slow-adapting receptors found in the dermis of both hairy and hairless skin, and they detect skin, stretching, and joint rotation. Pacinian corpuscles are fast-adapting receptors found deep in the dermis, and they sense vibrations and pressure. There are also proprioceptors, which help monitor the position and movement of the body. Muscle spindles detect muscle stretch and are found in skeletal muscle. Golgi tendon organs are located in tendons and monitor muscle tension. Joint receptors are found in joint capsules and detect joint position and motion. Next, we have thermoreceptors, which are responsible for detecting changes in temperature. Thermoreceptors use ion channels known as TRP channels. For example, TRPV channels get activated by heat and spicy food, while TRPM8 channels respond to cold and compounds like menthol. At extreme temperatures, nociceptors take over. Nociceptors respond to potentially damaging stimuli and trigger pain signals as a protective mechanism. There are three main types: thermal nociceptors, which sense extreme temperatures, mechanical nociceptors, which respond to excess pressure or deformation, and polymodal nociceptors, which can sense a combination of different harmful stimuli. Alright, as a quick recap, sensory receptors convert external stimuli into nerve impulses that travel to the brain. These receptors include mechanoreceptors for touch and proprioception, thermoreceptors for temperature, and nociceptors for pain. Together, they allow us to perceive the world around us with precision, adapt to changing conditions, and protect our bodies from harm. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the sensory division of the nervous system. For more videos on how the body works, make sure to subscribe to King of the Curve.